Welcome, everybody, at another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. If you're enjoying your day, sweet. If not, then what the hell ever. So, a bit of a niche episode, in a way. Going to be talking about Shawn Michaels' brief run that happened there in the NWO, that happened in the WWE in 2002. Because we remember the group came back at No Way Out 2002, Hogan, Hall, Nash, the original trio. Stuff happened in between there and when we started the storyline, but we're just going to kick into it. So, June 3rd, 2002. Kevin Nash is announced at the beginning of the show. He's got a big announcement, and it's announced that he's going to be adding a new member to the NWO. Come to the ring, introduction, and it's Shawn Michaels. And if memory serves me correctly, this was Shawn's first appearance on WWE television, I think since Armageddon 2000, because I believe he was out there in WWF New York during the pay-per-view prior to the Hell in a Cell main event. But he's out there. The Dallas crowd there is loving it. Because, again, first time in about a year and a half. And they also have Shawn and Kevin Nash not only pose in the ring, but they're also doing some of their typical mannerisms with the whole two dudes with attitude type of thing from back in the 90s. But that's all you had from Shawn. He didn't say anything just yet. So now, the next week, I got a lot of notes here. June 10, 2002. So, the NWO members wait outside of the Lock's dressing room. I wanted to bring this up just because it's comedic and everything. It kind of has to do with Shawn. Because you got Kevin Nash and X-Pac out there. Big Show wants to go in the locker room, use the bathroom, but Shawn's got the room locked, don't know why. And Booker T does that whole parody, like, doing a song parody of Shawn Michaels. Booker T, you know, that whole thing. Hilarious. And later, Shawn is shown with Kevin Nash in the locker room, watching a six-man tag match that happened of X-Pac, Big Show, and Booker T, who was in the NWO as mentioned, against Spike Dudley, Tommy Dreamer, and Shawn Stasiak, who was Crazy-Ack out of his Mindy-Ack, or whatever that whole gimmick was. So, they're watching the whole thing, and they close the door because they don't want to show Shawn and Kevin Nash watching them. And later, Coach tries to get an interview with Nash and Shawn, but they ain't answering. But then later on, Shawn finally comes down to the ring, and he's cutting a promo. It's time for the explanation. Why, Shawn? Why did you decide to go too sweet and all that? I can't get my voice that high, folks. You know that. So, he's mentioning that during back in the day, he was around where he was the only real one in the era of clowns and trash men and everything, of course, being referenced to Doink the Clown and Duke the Shitman Drozy. And he also spoke of his back injury and saying that he had to lose the title to Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14, and the fans had essentially moved on from Shawn and embraced attitude, so saying that the fans turned their back on him for the like of Stone Cold, who, as of this night, was not a good person to reference, because this was the night where Stone Cold walked out on the company, and the next week, you would have Vince doing the promo saying, "Oh, Austin walked out," and all that, and you know how that went. So, he's saying that the fans betrayed him for Stone Cold, and just jumped ship and everything, kind of like a prostitute running to a millionaire. Oh, there's something else, there's something shiny for me to go after. And Shawn vows to never wrestle again, which, who knows how true that statement would be if things didn't change later on for this whole storyline, and declared that the fans had killed the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. I can't do the impression well, you know though. But he does credit Kevin Nash for being there for him like a true best friend, which actually does play into real life stuff. If you saw, I don't remember if they did it in the Confidential documentary, but they did on Shawn Michaels' Heartbreak and Triumph DVD, where they talked about his time away from the company, where Kevin Nash helped him clear his head, he became sober, born again, completely reconciled with Triple H and everything, so there is truth to all that. And afterwards, the NWO arrives, and Shawn says that, hey, there's something wrong with the NWO. Big Show, you're a giant, you're awesome. X-Pac, you got some short-term memory problems, but you're good. And then that leads to him legitimately kicking Booker T out of the group. And then he says, "Oh, Booker, you're the problem." And saying that he was trying to steal the spotlight from the NWO. Because before this, Booker T started acting like a face after the win of the tag match, being like, "Spinneroonie, sucker." So, Shawn already cutting a heel promo, which, it's a rare time where he's really going after the fans like this during this period. Because, I know sometimes he would jump between face and heel during the Attitude Era. He's commissioner. No, he's not. He's just appearing on screen. Sometimes he might be wrestling, being like, "Oh, screw DX," and all that nonsense. Now we get on to the next week, June 17, 2002, episode of Raw. The NWO, after X-Pac lost his match against RVD, the NWO is trying to calm him down. "Oh, you lost. Everything's going to be fine. You got to keep your head on your shoulders and all that." Because Booker T got involved and cost X-Pac the King of the Ring tournament match. So, their meeting gets interrupted by the presence later on by Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, because Lesnar's supposed to go against Booker in the tournament finals, or sorry, the quarterfinals there, and advising them to stay out of the match, which leads to us seeing a face-to-face confrontation between Brock and Shawn Michaels, which I think there's still part of me that still has a little bit of interest seeing what a match would have been there like between them. Like, I know we had some interactions with them a little bit later on in the year when Shawn Michaels superkicked Brock Lesnar out of the ring and the 2013 stuff. And, of course, you also had Nash staring down with Brock and later Big Show, too. But stare downs happen in the locker room, it's whatever. And the NWO does come to ringside regardless, and they distract Booker T enough to cause him the match against Brock. So, this Booker T NWO stuff is still going along. Now we get to King of the Ring. And we got to remember, plans got thrown around because of Austin walking out. You got The Rock there and everything. The NWO's only thing that we had here on the show was where Triple H was coming out before his main event, walking backstage, and he's about to face The Undertaker for the Undisputed title in a really bad match. And the NWO meets up with him, and I remember Nash had this weird version of the NWO shirt with that 4 there, like NWO for life. And it seems like there's going to be tension there, but instead, you got everybody embracing Triple H. Shawn and Kevin Nash with a group hug, X-Pac hugs him, Big Show's just standing there with his arms crossed, being like, yes, whatever. And it seems like, oh, they're cool and everything, and they tell Hunter, it's like, hey, you need help, throw up the signal, so kind of too sweet him, but they don't come out, he never too sweets them or anything. And then you get to the next night, June 24, 2002, the infamous night where Vince does a whole ruthless aggression promo. NWO, they arrive late while everybody else is on the apron, because you got Shawn, X-Pac, Nash, and Big Show there, and being like, oh, we're sorry we're late, and Shawn's drinking his coffee, and saying that the NWO, they personify ruthless aggression and being superstars and all that. And they have the biggest superstars right there on the stage, and they offer to be hired hitmen for Vince, because, of course, the APA is no longer there. But Booker T, he's constantly going back and forth, stealing the microphone to Vince, saying that he wants a match with the NWO, but Vince is just like, okay, you can, but you're not going to face Shawn because, well, I mean, he's too big of a superstar and everything. He's giving it all to the company, and Nash, he's still injured. And then the whole remark saying, like, oh, you have to live up to expectations. You'll be unemployed by Scott Hall, and Nash with the middle finger. So Vince, he decides to book a tag match. Booker T and Goldust versus X-Pac and Big Show, but Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash are barred from ringside. So then backstage, Shawn and Nash try to fuel up Big Show and X-Pac, saying, hey, get your head in the game, or else somebody's going to get their asses kicked. And because of whole antics earlier in the night with Goldust and Booker T screwing with X-Pac and Big Show, the whole Steve Irwin impression and tagging X-Pac backstage and all that shit. So then the next week, we only got 2 more shows here, folks. July 1st, 2002. So you had Big Show versus Booker T. Big Show failed to beat Booker because he lost via countout, and the threat was still there, saying like, hey, if Big Show does not get the job done, he's going to kick Big Show's ass. So there's a confrontation there. Shawn Michaels and Nash come out there, and Nash and Big Show actually trade punches, but then Shawn tries to be peacemaker in the middle of them. And he's saying that the NWO, well, they'll take out Booker T next week. Don't worry about it. And he's also got an announcement, and saying that the NWO, we're like a family. We might be dysfunctional and everything like that, which, yeah, that happens. But they've got a missing member that they feel needs to be added there, and that person is currently injured, which may explain the pay-per-view's main event quality there. And that person is Triple H. So Shawn vows that Kevin Nash will be Triple H will be joining them in the very near future, and we'll get back to that in just a bit. And just as Kevin Nash and Big Show finally shake hands and make peace, Shawn decides, sweet chin music to the Big Show. And you would think, oh, he literally kicked out Big Show out of the group, but no, because Shawn Michaels and Nash come out onto the aisleway. They're like, come on, Big Show, come with us, saying that it's tough love, and just come to the back. So it's like, tough love, but like you're still in the group. Like, make up your mind here, dude. And then the big one, the next week, the big conclusion to this whole run. July 8, 2002, I bet that's bringing memories for everybody when you hear that date. The NWO, they have a talk backstage with Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, who are mad that they had their matches issues with Benoit with Bubba Ray Dudley and Eddie with Booker T. And they had this whole meeting about being heated and being like, oh, you got to get your head in the game and all that shit. Shawn, he advises Eddie and Benoit, it's like, hey, you might want to listen to Nash's announcement coming up in just a bit. So NWO come back to the ring and they cut a promo, and Shawn, he says, oh, when you're involving with the NWO, you're either with us or against us. 8 years later, the Nexus would kind of borrow that. for like in 2010. And they say that there's somebody who's clearly with us, Triple H, and they replay the footage from King of the Ring backstage with the whole hug and reunion and everything. And Shawn talks about the era of the Clique, and mentioned that, hell, we had some crazy times together, helping each other to our hotel rooms. We got hammered together, which X-Pac couldn't help but laugh. And then Shawn says that Triple H still hasn't answered the offer to join the NWO yet. And that Triple H, he used to be like this tough SOB, ruthless and everything, but now he's gone soft. He's for the fans and all that stuff. And he's still got a 2-week deadline because he now says that the deadline for your answer is at vengeance. So either you join the NWO or not. We could have every member of the Clique have been in the NWO at one point or another, even if it's not all at the same time. And then Nash, he announces that he's in his gear because he's been cleared to compete now that his bicep injury is completely healed, and there's a big tag team main event for the night. Kevin Nash, X-Pac, and Big Show teaming with Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero versus Booker T, Fairy Dust, I mean, that's Kevin Nash's words, Spike and Bubba Ray Dudley, and a fifth person who would end up being Rob Van Dam, so big 10-man tag. And this is the infamous one that people still make jokes about to this day, where Kevin Nash tore his quad rolling across the ring after delivering a big boot to Booker T. But the NWO still wins because during the whole chaos of everybody brawling and fighting everything, Shawn jumps in the ring, switching music to Booker T, and then Big Show picks him up, chokeslam, the NWO wins. And then Shawn closes the show with the reminder to Triple H saying, hey, you still got till vengeance, pal, to join us. And then, of course, Nash helped up to the aisleway, and that was it. Because, unfortunately, the next week it was announced that the NWO was no more, and we wouldn't even see Shawn Michaels until Vengeance, because by this point he shed the NWO gear, kind of probably to give this whole little small transition break phase to put him back as a babyface now this whole NWO thing was dropped, and instead of Shawn trying to get Triple H to join the NWO, he's now a babyface saying, hey, come to Raw instead of joining Stephanie on SmackDown and we can reform DX. So yeah, it was a little weird to see Shawn in the NWO there a bit, because I know that last appearance he had the Christian necklace there, that cross that he had around his neck, and he's the only member of the NWO in any iterations that never worked for WCW. I don't think he ever even had a match in his early career, according from what I've seen with Cage Match or anything, doing some research. So, he was the only one to be in the group to never be in WCW. And he made the mention in his promo saying, hey, I'm never going to wrestle again, but the next month, plans change. And for the better, because he had an amazing run going from SummerSlam 2002 up until WrestleMania 26. Not going to include the 2018 match there. But I think it was a fun thing to see, because I know Shawn being a heel and being this rebellious type of group in a way that trying to take over a company and break the rules and all that stuff. It was fine here, but I think it was better for him being a DX compared to the NWO. I know he'd been in attire of black for one color and then a secondary color, but it was alright from what we saw, but it just felt a bit weird. But just let me know what you all thought in the comment section below. Did you all enjoy Shawn Michaels' run in the NWO in 2002 or not? Just let me know what you all thought in the comment section below. If you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast, folks, please remember, leave a like, subscribe to the bell, turn on here on YouTube, comment what you thought below, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for listening, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.